Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger. Face masks in schools continue to be a hot topic of conversation in Billings. On a night when Governor Gianforte urged schools to give power back to the parents, a local group organized a parade to show its support of the Billings Public School Administration and its decision to keep masks mandatory. Dozens of vehicles snaked by the Billings hospitals and the Lincoln Center, the location of Superintendent Greg Upham's office. Q2's Mitch Legge joins us now with more.
In a show of support of the Billings School Board, Superintendent Greg Upham, and Billings healthcare workers, a group of people organized a parade through the Billings Medical Corridor and around the Lincoln Center on Tuesday night.
And so it was really important to me to have our school district follow that plan that worked last year and hope that even in this more dangerous time, we can have our best chance of having in school.
Brianna Bergeron is a member of a Facebook group started up by another Billings mom, Clementine Lindley, in support of masks in schools. Lindley said she created the group last week following a demonstration of people in support of optional masking. Lindley's social media group had about 1,400 members as of Tuesday night.
I felt like I was in a vacuum, or that I didn't feel like there was very many people who supported the mask mandate and supported following what our healthcare workers were suggesting for our community. And so I kind of created this group hoping that there would be maybe a couple hundred of us that could commiserate together.
Lindley wouldn't reveal the name of her social media group for fear of stirring up conflict with others of differing opinions in the community.
And not because we're hiding anything, but because we really just want to make sure that our conversations are thoughtful and thorough and not emotionally charged, but are sincere conversations with each other back and forth. Our group is about just support and caring and being safe and taking the stance of science and our healthcare professionals and maintaining that point.
Last week, some criticized the Billings School Board's decision to direct all public communication to the superintendent. Many were frustrated about the lack of communication from the elected officials. With the parade, Lindley said she hopes to offer a message of trust to the Billings Schools governing body.
As a group, there is a collective group of humans who sincerely believe and trust our administration and that our elected officials were elected to do a job, and we believe they're doing their job to the best of their ability. And we really want to show them that they have support and that there's not just angry people or frustrated people in our community, but there are people who do support them.
In Billings, Mitch Legge, MTN News.
Well, there's a lot of confusion over a rule issued by Governor Greg Gianforte today saying that school districts should give students the chance to opt out of health mandates. But as MTN's Mike Dennison reports, education officials say they're already doing just that.
The rule issued Tuesday by the State Department of Public Health and Human Services says if a school district in Montana is requiring students and staff to wear a face mask to slow the spread of COVID-19, it should allow students options for not wearing a mask or face covering. It says reasons for not wearing a mask can include physical or mental health concerns, religious beliefs, or moral conviction. But Lance Melton of the Montana School Boards Association says schools across Montana already are required by federal law and guidance to consider student wishes not to wear a mask. However, he says that does not mean students can demand to be at school without a mask. Melton says other options could be made available, such as remote learning or a face shield instead of a mask. Amanda Curtis, president of the union representing public school teachers in Montana, said the Gianforte administration is spreading misinformation about both what schools are doing and the effectiveness of masks. She said the governor should support local control by school districts instead of grandstanding for the benefit of a vocal minority of anti-maskers. The Gianforte administration rule said research is not conclusive on how much masks reduce the spread of viral infections. But Melton said schools are following and should follow the guidance of the National Centers for Disease Control, which has recommended children and staff wear masks indoors in school. And we should point out that local control is already at work here. Montana's large urban districts with more students and tighter quarters are requiring masks indoors, while most rural and smaller districts are not. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
The emergency rule will be in effect for no more than 4 months from today. We spoke with School District 2 Superintendent Greg Upham late this afternoon. He says the district has reviewed the rule with legal counsel, and because it is a permissive rule, not a mandatory rule, he says, quote, "We will stay the course with our policy of mandated masks." He went on to say, "We feel it is the safest for our students and staff and community as a whole." Upham also said in a newsletter tonight that students can enroll in virtual learning if they want to opt out of masks. Also today, School District 2 leaders and the Billings Education Association met for 6 hours inside the Lincoln Center as they work on a new contract for this school year. No agreement has been reached yet, with one big issue at the heart of the negotiations. Q2's Casey Conlon has more.
It was the Billings Teachers Union's goal to have a new contract in place for this year by the end of last year. That didn't happen. It also didn't happen this summer. We're now 7 days into a new school year, and the major holdup for a new contract is dealing with a promise longtime teachers are counting on to be kept.
Every year you sign a contract that you feel is going to be promised to you at the conclusion of your career. The school district and school board want to make significant changes to that package. That would be a dramatic change.
Eliminate benefits that teachers who have been there for 30 years have been accruing.
That is correct.
SD2's benefits and severance package is well known as a great recruiting tool across the state. Teachers are given a certain number of discretionary days each year. Those that are unused or rolled over, a teacher is paid out for them when they leave the district or retire. For 30-plus year employees, that could be tens of thousands of dollars.
It is something that they plan their lives around. So when you agree to something year after year after year for sometimes decades, it's disconcerting to have them talking about not fulfilling their end of the bargain that you've sort of made with them.
Edward, who is on the union negotiating team, says the district has softened in their initial stance of wanting to decimate the package. Robison says the administration's goal in meetings is to solve a years-long, multi-million-dollar deficit.
They would like to slow the projection of costs, and we as a bargaining group have made what we feel are steps in terms of slowing those costs down.
No teacher wants this district to go bankrupt. No teacher wants this district to be financially strapped. We want it to be sustainable long-term into the future.
One idea being thrown around, honor the commitments made in previous contracts, but negotiate a more cost-friendly package moving forward. But Edward says that would create a rift within their own ranks.
All teachers kind of have to be under the same kind of system, or the union doesn't work very well, right? So a different benefits package for different teachers very quickly divides staff.
Both Edward and Robinson believe a deal is close. Halfway through today's meeting, Robinson told Q2 there were just 2 issues to go, but that they were big issues. After the longest 18 months of their professional lives, teachers continue to grow wearier every day.
The workload and the expectations has just been overwhelming. And I do feel that the morale of teachers, especially at the end of last year, was dismal.
There's no question. It's a very difficult thing to think about starting the year without a new contract. Teachers feel like their voices aren't being listened to is the biggest frustration.
Casey Conlon, MTN News.
Robison and Upham released a joint statement after today's meeting. It states that they are working together to solve issues and are making progress. They, however, have not scheduled the next meeting date. Well, as the mask mandate debate continues, COVID numbers climb to heights not seen since early December. Today, the state reports 890 new cases and 13 additional deaths, including one victim here in Yellowstone County. That death, a woman in her 60s, is the 11th county resident to pass away in August, making it the deadliest month since February. The state has recorded 96 deaths this month. 1,800 Montanans have passed away since the pandemic began. Well, it is a problem that many don't want to talk about or find too painful to talk about, and Montana has seen more than its share of it. This evening at Rose Park, an event was held to remember those from the community who've died due to overdose. Several people who've lost loved ones due to accidental overdoses told their stories. They say it's important to bring awareness and end the stigma of overdose.
See, that's what addiction does. The ones that continue to play Russian roulette with the disease of addiction, they might one day overdose, but it's the family members and the friends that need to stay behind and pick up the pieces. When I say addiction doesn't discriminate, addiction robs the souls of the most beautiful people.
August 31st is International Overdose Awareness Day, an event that has been held for 20 years, but this is just the second year for it here in Billings. In national news tonight, President Biden said his decision to end America's longest war in Afghanistan was the right one, despite leaving some U.S. citizens behind. The State Department says it's been in contact with some of those Americans as the administration also vets tens of thousands of Afghan refugees. Natalie Brand has more from the White House.
President Biden addressed the nation less than 24 hours after the last U.S. soldier, Major General Chris Donahue, left Afghanistan, ending a 2 decades-long war.
I was not going to extend this forever war, and I was not extending a forever exit.
The president says military commanders on the ground advised that ending the mission as planned was the best way to protect the lives of U.S. troops.
For any soldier, sailor, airman, or Marine and their family, your service mattered and was not in vain.
The administration estimates more than 122,000 people were evacuated, while around 300 Americans remain in Afghanistan.
Americans need to be able to be brought home. This cannot be our history.
There is not an end to our commitment to American citizens who are in Afghanistan who want to leave.
The State Department has moved diplomatic operations from Kabul to Doha, Qatar. Critics of the complete withdrawal from Afghanistan worry that it will impede the U.S.'s ability to collect intelligence and protect against future threats.
We can strike terrorists and targets without American boots on the ground.
U.S. law enforcement officials confirmed to CBS News the Department of Homeland Security has issued warnings that extremists could seek to exploit the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. DHS has deployed staff to assist in vetting the tens of thousands of Afghan allies arriving to the U.S. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, the White House.
Ida is now a tropical storm, but not before leaving more than 1 million residents and businesses without power, including the entire city of New Orleans. With power out, the heat is now putting people's health in jeopardy. While levees held along the Mississippi River, the winds damaged every single home in Kelowna, Louisiana. One resident who rode out the hurricane says, "Never again."
I was scared. I got on my knees, man. It was just horrible. It was horrible. I'd never do it again. I mean, I've been through all kinds of storms, but this one, I'd never do it again.
Adding to the misery, a heat index in the 100s over the next couple of weeks. And while fires have subsided for now in Montana, a massive battle against flames is taking place in California. Officials say the Caldo fire is now the #1 priority fire in the nation. Thousands of people have been forced to flee their homes as that fire bears down on Lake Tahoe.
And we're joined now by Chief Meteorologist Ed McIntosh. And summer, I guess from a meteorological standpoint, is ending. We know it was a hot one, but how do we stand compared to summers past?
Let's go ahead and take a look. First, let's start with Billings and some of the temperatures. Now, for June and July, it was the hottest June-July combination on record for the Billings Airport. But then the temperatures began to drop off into August, and we ended up in 4th place. As far as August went, we actually ended up with the 3rd wettest August for the Billings Airport recording. But you take a look at the whole summer across the state. How about Glasgow and Wolf Point and Baker and Jordan, all the hottest summers on record, June, July, August. We could see that all across the state where it was in the top 10. Cody came in at 10th place overall. So the warm seems to be leaving us at least temporarily. We're going to see some warm temperatures heading into the Labor Day weekend, though. We'll have details on that in a few minutes.
Well, the city of Billings has announced some changes to its regular trash collection schedules. Q2's Brandon Warren fills you in.
The city of Billings will soon be making changes to their residential extras trash collection program.
It's the extra trash bags and and boxes and just normal household garbage that doesn't fit in your black cart or your black bin in the alley behind your house. Currently, we're doing that weekly, and starting next week, that's moving to a monthly collection schedule.
The changes are coming in part because the city simply does not have the staff to keep doing it weekly. If your trash pickup day is on Monday, then the extra day will be the first week of the month. If it's Tuesday, it will be the second week of the month. If it's Wednesday, extra day will be the third week of the month. And if your trash day is on Thursday, extras day will be on the fourth week of the month. If you have a larger item you want to be picked up on extra day, the city asks that you call them and let them know ahead of time.
Pick that up on your extra day, but call us to let us know that you have it, and we'll get it scheduled for you.
With the small lack of staff, and to help make Billings a cleaner place, the city has one small favor to ask.
You throw away trash, whether it's in your 300-gallon bin in the alley, or whether it's in your black cart that you put curbside, bag it. And bag it for a couple reasons. If you don't bag it on a windy day, it could potentially end up in your neighbor's yard when we come to collect it. And if you don't bag it on that same windy day, it could end up on our neighbor's property once it gets out to the landfill. So I ask that you just bag your stuff before you put it in your cart.
The city asks that all your trash be put out by 6 a.m. the morning of pickup. In Billings, Brandon Warren, MTN News.
Those changes will begin on September 6th. Still to come on the MTN 10 o'clock news here on Q2, a wall of honor. We're going to head to the Magic City Library where you can now sail the seas with the USS Billings. That story coming up next. Then a little later in sports, the Panthers on the prowl with a senior-laden group. Park City looking to cash in with the state title. We'll hear from them coming up in just a bit.